Live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, day 2 of NBA free agency, and so far, still just waiting around, right? Still just coasting, waiting for the Lakers to do some stuff. Look, again, hopefully the Lakers are actually putting in work. There were reports that the Lakers are active in trade talks. Ayton tomorrow becomes available, so hopefully, that he ends up clearing waivers. We get that announcement, and then hopefully he gets signed. Although there are talks about Lakers potentially working on a trade and getting a trade done. So we'll see how that goes too. But nonetheless, right, at the end of the day, preach patience. We got to still be patient. It's frustrating. I get it, right? It's we want everything done immediately. You're looking at Houston and Denver. Denver's the team that I'm really like, oof, Denver's going to be tough next year. But you're looking at all these teams, and it's like they're all improving. They're all getting better. And yet the Lakers, we've signed, Jake LaRavia, which, don't get me wrong, I really like Jake LaRavia. I think he's going to be a very good player for the Lakers. But it's just, Lakers have so many pressing needs. You lose Dorian Finney-Smith. It's like we kind of need something, right? Like we kind of need some players, right? We need to kind of start solving some of these holes here. Hopefully a trade. Yeah, hopefully a trade ends up getting done, right? Because, look, there was heavy reporting today. The Lakers have touched base with several centers about various trades, trying to get at least a backup center is what it looks like. And then on top of that, they have according to Dave McMahon, are like in active conversations, right? That they're like in active, conversation. Like Lakers are trying to get a center and maybe potentially other pieces. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I personally, this is just me personally, I personally would prefer to just go sign Ayton, right? And then just bring in Ayton and Al Horford, right? Can you get Ayton and Al Horford? And then now you got your center spot. And then instead of using your assets and your players to go get all these other guys or get another center, use those players and assets to go get like an Andrew Wiggins, just again, using him as an example. Or can you get a Herb Jones, or can you get some of these guys, right? Like just go use your assets instead of going and trading for a center. Use that to go get another piece, right? Even if it's just like a pick swap or something, right? I'd rather you use that pick swap to go get, a 3-and-D wing than use that pick swap to get a center when you have a guy in Ayton who supposedly is coming. You have a guy in Ayton that's right there for the taking. And, and I get that there's some risks. I get that there's concerns. Supposedly, Portland bought him out because, he just was coming up late, showing up late to practice and just not taking things serious. But my thing though too is that he's got to come to the realization that, hey, we're this is it, right? If this doesn't work out with the Lakers, that could be it. Like your career could be over, because eventually we've seen it. Eventually teams get sick of the nonsense, and Ayton is great, but he's not so great that teams are willing to ignore the nonsense, right? Like if he was like Jokic, if Jokic showed up to practice late and started, just kind of doing his own thing, and because the road was too icy, he just decided not to show up, right? Like Denver would probably be like, yeah, it's all right, right? Like, it's just like anything else. The higher status you are, the better you are, the more leniency that you get, which Ayton, again, he has to prove it. He's every place he's been, he's had his issues. Right now, to his credit, he did kind of stay out of the controversy while he was in Portland, right? And with the Phoenix Suns, it was like a regular thing. Him and Monty were clashing. He was like refusing to sub back in for game. Like it was a mess with Ayton. So I get that there's risks with Ayton. I get that, Lakers might have some reservations, and they're looking at it as like, if we can get this guy over here, that might just be better for the long term, right? And also there is an argument to be made too of if you can get a guy, even if you bring in Ayton, if Ayton doesn't work out, then you're not like, up shit's creek without a paddle type thing, right? Like the Lakers could go, say, trade for Nick Claxton, bring in Ayton, right? Maybe Ayton is your starter just because you have to convince him to come. See how that works out. If that works out great, then you figure it out type thing, right? Maybe that's what it is, or they go and bring him in and then he departs. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this all goes. But you also, if you're the Lakers, don't want to be overly patient, right? You don't want to wait around so long that he ends up going elsewhere, right? Like I don't think he's going to Indiana if the Lakers are a real thing. Just because, again, his agent made it very clear, like he wants to go to a contender, and I just don't think Indiana is going to be that this year without Tyrese Halliburton. And even Miles Turner was getting played off the court for them, all kinds of stuff, right? Because they were just better off going small at times. I just think Ayton, and you got to keep in mind too, DeAndre Ayton, again, he needs to revamp his image. He needs to go and have himself be perceived in a better light. There's no better place to go than the Lakers. No better, right? Like, so that's what he needs to do, in my opinion. But I mean, obviously he still needs a job, right? So if the Lakers end up pulling off a trade for a Nick Claxton or something like that, again, just using him as an example, then it's very possible he just goes like, hey, like, I'm just going to go to Indiana and be a starter because I don't want to have to battle for a starter. I'd rather just go to Indiana and be their primary center, right? So there's a lot of kind of factors that go into this, and we'll see how this kind of plays out as we continue throughout this season or this off season. But look, obviously I, as I'm sure many of you all want the same thing. We all want the Lakers to make a move. We all want the Lakers to pull something off and get it done. I wish that the Lakers at 3:01 p.m. ended up signing everybody. They got Ayton and they did this and they did that and they brought in Anthony Melton and they made 2 trades, and I wish everything would have gotten done overnight, but it usually doesn't work like that, right? And I'd rather the Lakers be patient and get it right. That's the key, though. They got to get it right. Mike, if you are patient and you don't get it right, then we're in trouble. But if we're patient and Rob Pelinka does get it right, then the patience is worth it, right? Like last year, we were very patient. You go get a Dorian Finney-Smith, who was huge for you, but really, Lakers continue to remain patient. All of a sudden, you look up and there's Luka. Got it right. Obviously, you didn't get it right enough to win a championship last year, but you got it right enough to where you put yourself in a position for the future, right? So, again, if I'm all for being patient, and I stand by, no trade is better than a bad trade, right? I'm old enough to remember Lakers desperately needing players and Mitch Kupchak, because he wanted to wanted to sign somebody and save his job and all that stuff, ended up foolishly giving Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng contracts immediately because they wanted to bring them on. Like, again, I'd rather them not do something foolish. I'd rather them not do something that is going to set us back, and continue to be patient, find those right moves, whether it is a trade or it is Ayton or whatever, right? Whatever the best available path is in order to make this team and sculpt this team to the best of its ability. I don't think this team is that far, right? They have to solve the center position, the starter and the backup. You solve that. Look, it could be Ayton and, Al Horford, right? Get those two. There's nothing wrong with that. Then use your assets and go get, an upgrade at the 3, right? Go get an Andrew Wiggins for the defensive purposes, right? Like, whatever you got to do, just figure it out. I'm all for being patient. We all should be patient, but Rob has to get it right, right? Because it's hard to preach patience when you do it wrong. But if he does it right and he handles what he's supposed to handle, then we'll be in good shape. But hopefully we get some news tomorrow. Like I said, Ayton will be officially a free agent. He should clear waivers tomorrow. And then once he clears waivers, then the Lakers can officially make a play. I'm curious to see if, 1, it gets announced tomorrow, and 2, how quickly it gets announced. If it does, I at least want if they're going to go the Ayton route, even if you don't sign him right away, I'd like at least the intent, right? Like, DeAndre Ayton intends to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers type thing, but Lakers are working on trades or whatever. Like, Lakers have 3 different things that they're trying to work out right now, and then they're going to sign Ayton after all that's done, right? Then perfect, right? At least we got the confirmation that, hey, a center is coming, something is getting done, and we're there. But it's going to be probably going to be a very long offseason. But anyway, let's get into all the super chat questions, all the regular chat questions, all of that stuff. Real quick, hit that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button for me. A lot of recording and talking, so got to keep the throat moist. Pause. But yes, anyway, let's get into the chat. So, Gavin, I'm so sick of waiting, man. I get patience is key, but as we said last year, and all we know what happened. Well, I mean, last year they got Luka. Again, I get we didn't win a championship, but you set yourself up for the next 8 years. I mean, realistically, there's the chance of the Lakers winning a championship with Anthony Davis and LeBron. Lakers might have been a play-in team last year if they didn't make that Luka trade. Right, because Anthony Davis still was hurt. I mean, he was hurt when he was with the Lakers, right? So he would have had to sit out. Lakers probably drop, right? Like, again, patience is important, right? I get we want to win a championship, right? Like, I'm all for making moves and stuff like that, but obviously we got to win a championship, all right? Like, that's the goal, championship or bust. But, again, patience, I know it's frustrating. I know it's hard. I get it. Right. The fan in me too is screaming, get something done, do something done. But, sometimes we gotta, take a deep breath and realize like, hey, the best option is patience, right? I'd rather Rob Pelinka continue to remain patient. One of the biggest criticisms of Rob Pelinka is things that the decisions and moves that he made in the past because he rushed, right? He was overpaying for guys. He was taking the first guy that was available, right? Making haste decisions and moves at times. The Lakers as an organization, period, were just making haste decisions and moves, right? So I would rather Rob Pelinka be patient and weigh all his options. If you miss out on a guy or two, it sucks, of course. But like I mentioned it earlier, my opening little rant, like as long as he gets it right, right? And again, you never know. Like Lakers could put together a stacked team. There's no guarantee they're going to win a championship. But at least if we look at this team and go, okay, it's there, right? We just got to all the pieces have to just fall into place. Then that's fine, right? As long as Rob gets it right, I'm fine with being patient. What's going on? How are you? Appreciate you. Are they playing the waiting game or are we delusional? I mean, I think they're playing the waiting game. Look, Lakers have to solve their center position one way or another. Look, they were playing the waiting game last year and then we got Luka. Right? Like, so there are clear, like Lakers have to at least fill the roster. So they at least have to bring in, 2 more guys. But all right, how many are they at? I think they're at 12, right? Yeah, I think they're at 12 guys right now. I don't know off the top of my head. Because I know they had 3 guys leave and you brought in 1, but point is, regardless, right? Like Lakers are going to have to fill out a roster regardless. So we know more moves are coming no matter what. It's just, are they the moves that we look at and go, okay, that was right. Again, if the Lakers end up signing an Ayton and an Al Horford and then going and trading for an Andrew Wiggins and then bringing in a DeAnthony Melton and then take a flyer on like an Imani Bates or something like that, all of a sudden we look up and we're like, oh, wait a minute. Like there's something here, right? Don't get me wrong. Teams are getting better. Like the one team that I look at and I go, ooh, that could be a problem is Denver, right? Because I think Cam Johnson is going to be a better natural fit than Michael Porter Jr. was. And they were also able to bring Bruce Brown back. And they just signed Tim Hardaway Jr., right? So they're making some real moves. They're getting some depth and all that stuff. Denver's the one I really worry about. Houston, on paper, looks fantastic. But their biggest issue still exists, which is the scoring, right? They still can't, like, outside of Kevin Durant, they still don't have that consistent, like, I can just go get you 25 every night if you need it, right? Like, and that's a real problem. They're deep, they're talented, they're versatile, they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. They're going to be excellent. They're going to be great by committee. However, right, like, look at this Houston last year. If Houston had Kevin Durant last year, how far do they go? I think they beat the Warriors. I do. I think they went out of the first round of the Warriors. And then I think they lose to Minnesota in round 2. That's what I think Minnesota smacks them. Right. But again, like you look at the teams that have improved, particularly in the Western Conference, right? the teams below us, I still think are going to be below us. Right? As long as we just get a center, like a starting center, like even Ayton, I think we'll be better than. I think we'll still be a top, 3 to 4 team. But there are a couple teams that I look at. Like what I think OKC takes a step back, right? Because they're defending champions. Are they going to want to like go for the gusto? I know that they're young and stuff, but they're going to want to try to repeat. So you start getting into that, like, hey, let's really break this down type thing. So Houston, I think, will probably be the 1 seed in the West because they're young, they're athletic. Yeah, those teams usually bode well. But like again, there's not like I don't look at anybody and I'm like, wow, like man, Lakers, those teams are just so far and away from the Lakers. Like, no, again, and you're gonna have a healthy, rejuvenated Luka. We've seen that man in Denver or in Dallas, like single-handedly go get to the conference finals, right? Like, or win a playoff series, right? So I don't think it's delusion. It's just, again, at the end of the day, what do the Lakers end up doing? What kind of moves do the Lakers end up adding? To be honest, adding DeAndre Ayton isn't enough. So many teams in the West got better, and there will be teams ahead of us like OKC, Nuggets, Mavs, and Rockets. Again, like this actually fits perfectly to what I was just saying. Like, nobody made a move that was like, oh my God, like they're just better than everybody. Right. Like, again, Houston is better. I don't want to undersell Houston. Houston is absolutely better. But Kevin Durant alone isn't moving them head and shoulders above everybody. Right. They're going to be better. They're going to be good. It'll help in those crunch time situations, but they still have their issues. Denver is the team that I kind of like, ooh, man, they depending on how those pieces shape up, they might be tough, like real tough, because they already were tough last year. I mean, they took OKC to a game 7. They were their toughest opponent outside of, obviously, the NBA Finals. So don't underestimate the value of a player, especially when you're on a team that desperately needs that position, right? Like Lakers going from no center to a center will make them infinitely better, right? Just because, again, it's a position that they don't have. Like, I don't want them to just get Ayton and that's it. I'm not saying like they're clear-cut best team in the league with Ayton. No, but they'll be much better. If Ayton really buys in and plays a role, right? Problem is he's risky. If he does all this, if he kind of does what he does in a place like Houston, or not Houston, Phoenix, there we go. That could be a problem. But if he really is like, hey, this might be my last chance, let me buy in. Let me play, within a role and show what I can do. Him alone will do what, I mean, it'll be night and day for the Lakers, right? But they need to get a backup. You need to get some perimeter defense. Lakers need about 4 or 5 guys, right? If they get about 4 or 5 guys, I think they'll be in really good shape. But, Sean, coming out, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Rob did not get Luka. Rob is awful. We got worse. I mean, Rob did get Luka. Got a phone call, right? Or it was a dinner. They went to dinner. Nico brought up the idea, right? And yes, he might have brought it to the table, but Rob Pelinka still had to negotiate it. If you want a car, right? If you're looking for a Honda, and I come to you and I go, hey, Sean, here, I found the Honda you want, right? Yes, I went and got it for you, but it's your job to get it at the price that you want. I want $50,000 for this car. Well, I don't, it's not worth $50,000. Well, it doesn't matter. I want $50,000. I have the player. You want the player, right? Or I have the car. You want the car, right? Like, and then it's your job to close the deal and make sure it gets done. Rob Pelinka could have given both firsts, Austin Reeves, Max Christie, all of it. And Nico wanted all of it, right? And he didn't have to give it all. Like, Rob got Luka, and he got him at a banner of a deal. We can't go and be like, man, Lakers fleeced Dallas on Luka and not credit Rob, because Rob is the one that finalized that deal. Rob is the one that went in there and negotiated it. There's a lot of things you can criticize Rob about, but we can't start making stuff up, right? Like, again, there's a lot of things that you can point to Rob Pelinka and go, he's awful because of this. But I see a lot of people like, oh, he was gifted Luka. He still had to do his job, right? Like, if I'm a salesman and a customer walks through the door, yes, I didn't have to go find that customer, right? I didn't have to go outside looking for that customer. I didn't have to make phone calls to get that customer, but it's my job to close the sale, right? As the salesperson. Rob Pelinka still did his job. He still closed the sale, and he did it in a way that gave us still the potential to make other moves and stuff. Again, you want to criticize Rob Pelinka, I'm all for it, but we can't criticize Rob Pelinka for stuff that he should be praised for. Like, it's just, it makes us look, and then that's why people are like, this is why Laker fans are so delusional, and this, that, the other, because it's like, we got Luka Doncic. We got arguably a top 3 player in all of basketball. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Again, we have to be honest. It's okay to be honest. Same patience, Rob might not be here in 20 don't be shocked if he's here for a while. Rob, again, the new owner is planning on letting Jeannie and Rob kind of run the show, probably through Rob's new extension. So he's probably going to be around for a little while. But yeah. Let's see. CS coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Tyler, are you high on Jake? Yeah. So it's LaRavia. But yeah, personally, right? I think Jake LaRavia is going to be great. He is kind of the type of guy that you need, a guy that can self-create, guy that can knock down the 3 ball with a level of efficiency. He's a B+ rated defender in like every metric, which is good. That's really good, right? He's got some athleticism. I know people are like, oh, he's not athletic. He is athletic. He's not hyper athletic. Like, he's not, and it's like, he's not like Thero that we brought in. Like, but he is athletic. He tested good. He had a good shuttle, good lane agility, all of those things. He should be able to stay in front of guys better defensively. He's got a good wingspan, good length, good size, all of that. He is essentially, I look at him like Rui when we first traded for Rui. Right? Think about when we first traded for Rui. Like, the idea of Rui was great, was better than what he actually was at that time. And he slowly emerged and evolved into that. That's what I think Jake LaRavia can be. I think Jake LaRavia is I think he's better suited to slot in at the 3 than Rui is. Or I think Rui is a true 4 slotted in at the 3. I'm not saying he'll ever even be Rui, but I think that the potential and upside is higher. He's 23 years old, plenty of room, plenty of growth. And he was looking every bit the part in Sacramento before he broke. I think he broke his finger or fractured his finger. But he was averaging like 18 a game at that stretch, and then ended up fracturing his finger, and it kind of set him back. But obviously his role is going to be very different than it was at that time in Sacramento, right? He's not going to get the opportunity to go and, take 15 attempts or whatever, right? He's going to have to play within a role within Luka and LeBron and Reeves and stuff. But I do think he's a guy that has a ton of upside and potential. And I'm actually really excited to see kind of how he plays. He'll be good as that catch and shoot 3-point shooter and a bit of a movement shooter, right? His ability to move without the basketball, particularly out on the perimeter, and then just let LeBron and Luka find you, and then just hit him down with some consistency. So yeah, I think that him being that type of shooter, I think is great for the Lakers. I think he has all the potential to be a legit 3-and-D guy for us. Not saying he's going to be like OG Anunoby great, but I think he'll be, one of the better 3-and-D guys for us, based on who's on the roster right now. Obviously that could change, with trades and stuff. I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up starting at some point. But we'll see. Time will tell. But appreciate you. Thank you. What's going on, Daniel? Appreciate you being here. A first in Dalton for Kyle Kuzma. I would stay away from Kyle Kuzma personally. I get he fit in at the time with the late. He's kind of gotten too far away from what he was when we had him, right? Taste the good life. Hey, man, the grass is green over here, baby. Get to take 15 shots. I get to be the star. Me and Jordan Poole get to go and, pick up on all the local baddies. Like, man, I think he's gone a little too far. You saw his struggles kind of fitting in. Is that just because he kind of got thrusted into Milwaukee towards the middle of the season? But he was not good in Milwaukee at all. And that begs the question of, is that because he had to start playing a role? Where in Washington, him and Jordan Poole, it's like, they're high-fiving, they're just launching shots, they're just taking any shot that it's just, I think he's gone a little too far off the reservation. I would prefer to not go and try. I'd rather go. I wouldn't give up a first and Dalton Connect for Kyle Kuzma. That's insane to me personally. Right. But if I had to, I mean, there's 10 other guys you could probably get for that price that I'd take over Kyle Kuzma. I mean, you could get Andrew Wiggins right now, keep your first, and just do Dalton Connect. So I would rather go that route. I use that same mic. Awesome, right? It's a great mic. I mean, yeah, it works. It does its job. It's I had the little cover on it, and then my puppy decided that's going to be my new chew toy, and so I need to buy a new thing, but it works fine. It's good. But man, I appreciate you. Rather have Kai Jones or Marvin Bagley for the vet minimum instead of old ass Horford. I really like the idea of Horford, and I know people look at the age and are like, he's old, but you need that stable veteran, and he might be really good for Ayton, right? If the Lakers go and get DeAndre Ayton, Al Horford might be key to kind of just be that vet, to be there for Ayton, to kind of like, hey, man. Plus, Al Horford, dude, that guy's just a hooper. I mean, I understand he's like 39 years old. He'll be 40, if we make it to the NBA finals. So I'm hoping that we're celebrating his birthday and a trip to the finals. But he's still really good. Knocks down the three ball with efficiency. He's the exact type of center you want alongside LeBron. He still is very good defensively. I mean, go look up his defensive stats and his defense metrics. Like he's still very good defensively. And just, again, he's just that solid veteran leader that I think you need. I really do. I like the idea of a veteran guy, a guy that's been there and done that. I've talked about it with, even like a Brook Lopez and stuff like that. Like getting that guy, get the young guy that kind of needs to prove it or kind of has the upside and potential, and then go bring in that vet that you can trust and rely, right? At least Al Horford, he's been there. He's hit big shots. He's made big blocks. He's made, grab big rebounds. He's been to the finals. He's won NBA championships. He's been on deep playoff runs, right? Like he's a guy that, you're in game 7 of the NBA finals, tie game, 2 minutes left. You can throw Al Horford out there and he's going to be a difference in you winning that game. You need those kind of guys, right? You need those veterans that can kind of be the glue guys together. I mean, I'd like to get a third big, right? Like I wouldn't mind if the Lakers brought in a Kai Jones or Marvin Bagley as like a third big, right? So you have kind of Ayton, Horford, and then that third big, because Ayton's probably going to miss some time just based on his history. Horford's probably going to miss some time based on his history, right? So I don't mind you doing something like that, but over Al Horford, like if Al Horford's really an option, I think you should go get Al Horford. I don't want Al Horford as our starter, but as this primary backup, I mean, he was so important on the Boston Celtics finals run. Like, I mean, very important. Right? Just because, again, he's a guy that does everything and he does it well. And he's going to play his role, which is key. You need that. Especially with the Lakers trying to get a bunch of young guys, trying to get younger, particularly out on the perimeter and stuff. You still need those vets. I know we all want like a roster full of 22-year-olds, but you do still need those vets. That's why like Alex Caruso was so important for a team like OKC. Even Isaiah Hartenstein, right? Like, he's not like Al Horford's age, but a guy that had some seasoning to him, right? You need those guys. Those guys are very important. Ayton is definitely a better player than any other center that is available, trade or not. We should take the risk. I agree. I mean that's definitely an argument for it. My like biggest argument for why I'd take Ayton over the field is just because the Lakers have several other needs. And the only way you're going to get another center is by giving up the assets that it would take to go get those other needs. So you have, which I agree with you, the best possible center, best possible upside, right? I think there's guys that you could argue are much safer bets, potentially could be, better if they're bought in, depending on how Ayton does, right? Like there's a risk with Ayton, right? But I do think it's worth the risk in order to go make the other moves, right? You go get the other pieces, you go get the other players, right? Go get an Andrew Wiggins and a Terrence Mann or something like that, right? Like, can you do something like that to put you in that position? We had 2 chances to get a center, and we got 2 forwards. Talking about in the draft, I mean, again, I'm not going to get into this too heavy because I talked so much about it, and I have entire videos about it because this was like a common point that brought up. Like, as far as the Lakers going and signing or drafting, it made no sense to go get a center, right? And because again, Lakers, any guy that they draft or even pick up an undrafted free agency, they're not starting. They're trying to win a championship, right? Like you need a clear-cut, proven starter, right? That guy's probably not even going to be your backup. So you're talking about a guy that at best is probably your third big or should be your third big. Otherwise, you're doing something wrong. Should be your third big, or he's going to be on a two-way and then be your development big, which the Lakers already have. They have Trey Jamison. They have Christian Koloko. They don't need another project to throw on the bench. Right? Like you can always find those projects. I mean, there's those guys littered all over rosters and stuff and get bought out regularly. So there's guys still in the G League and things like that. Like if you just want to go get a project center, they could easily go do that, right? But they want real, here you go, primed and ready type of centers. So, I'd love to piss off Luka and piss off Ayton. That could be a scary duo. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about 2 guys that have a lot to prove, are going to be very motivated, need to kind of show like, hey, you know, they both need to kind of revamp their image. Right? And that could be a very thing. If LeBron can't snap him out of it, I think he's a lost cause. I agree. I think having LeBron, I think is going to be very helpful. I think having JJ Redick is going to be very helpful because JJ Redick is kind of that no nonsense. Like, yeah, he'll have fun at practice, stuff like that, but he's, he can be a bit of a, an a-hole. I mean, even LeBron's talked about like, take the message, not the ways delivered type thing with JJ Redick. So I think Ayton needs that structure. I think he needs to go to an organization that wants to win, that has the guys. Like, if you don't respect LeBron, I understand. I know LeBron haters are going to be like, oh, I don't respect LeBron. I'm talking about actual NBA players, not the random guy sitting on the couch crying over LeBron. I'm talking about like legit, like, hey, I am made a career out of the NBA. If you don't respect LeBron, I don't know what to tell you. Right? Like, again, like if you were going to have respect for anybody, it's LeBron. Right? What he's done, the accolades he's had, the accomplishments, the hey, there is a path to winning here, right? Like LeBron James demands that respect, right? So if Ayton can't get himself right, it's a problem. I mean, just in general. I mean, this could be his last chance. He's good enough to where I don't think he'll be out of the league, but like if he ever wants to make real money again, I know like even a vet minimum is like $3 million, but you get the point, right? If he ever wants to make that kind of like, like wow money again, then this might be it. Because again, he's great. He's a very good basketball player. Great is wrong. Is too high a word. Very good basketball player, right? He's a guy that could be a 20 and 10 center. Legit. I think he has the potential to be great. There were signs early in Phoenix where it was like you watched him play and it was like, dude, this guy might be one of the 3 best centers in basketball in like 3 years. And he just like couldn't get out of his own way. Right. But I think that the potential is there. I think the upside is there. It's definitely a risk, but I think it's very low risk, high reward at this point. And I think Luka's going to make him great. Like this is it. Right. Like we've seen guys, if he was Jokic, people be lining up to the door. Right. Like this should be a sign. Portland would rather pay you than keep you on their roster or trade you, right? Like teams weren't lining. That means teams were not lining up to trade for you, right? If Jokic was arguing with his coach and missing practice and taking days off and doing all this other stuff and then became available, every single team in the league would be like, that's fine. You know what? We don't need him to practice 5 days a week. He can only practice 3, right? Like every team in the league would be making up excuses for why you go get him. Right. Because again, there's levels to this, but he needs to get himself together. I mean, seriously, I'm rooting for him. Right. CS coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hot take is Jake LaRavia. I know it's LaRavia. LOL, a better player at this point in time. Oh, okay. So you're okay. Good. Sorry, that threw me off. Hot take. Here, let's start over. Is Jake LaRavia a better player at this point in time than Dorian Finney-Smith? Keep in mind, Dorian Finney-Smith had surgery recently. No. I would take, like, it both, like, so, okay, let me put it like this. So, let's say you are a contending team and you have LaRavia or Dorian Finney-Smith. It's like, which one do you want? If I'm a contending team, I'd rather have Dorian Finney-Smith. And the reason for that is Dorian Finney-Smith, he has the experience. He has LaRavia might have better stats, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if LaRavia, averages 15 points on this Lakers team and grabs, 6 boards. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he actually has a really good, like, stat line. Like, he's a really good player for the Lakers as soon as this year, right? I wouldn't be shocked at that at all. But that doesn't mean he's going to be better for the Lakers and a better impact player than Dorian Finney-Smith was. Dorian Finney-Smith, yes, it's nice when you see him give you 15 points and all that stuff, but it's about all the other things that he does. There's a reason Dorian Finney-Smith was every bit our best plus minus guy. Why was he our best plus minus guy every game and in every playoff game and all of that? Because of the intangibles that he does, right? The things he does between the margins, the way that he impacts the game beyond scoring. Right? There's more to the game of basketball than scoring the basketball. He's a guy that can defend 1 through 5 and do it excellent. I mean, he was the only player in the league last year that did it for like 20 minutes or whatever, like actually defended, not like just switched and now I'm on a center. No, legitimately was defending centers, right? He's a guy that, makes the winning plays, and you need those guys. He's a veteran, he's experienced, he's been there, he's done that, right? He's a guy that does the dirty work that the Lakers need. Now, again, the upside and trajectory of Jake LaRavia is better, much better, right? I mean, they're just two very different things, right? Like, Dorian Finney-Smith is that Swiss Army knife, dirty work guy, where Jake LaRavia is more of a Rui Hachimura. Like, Rui Hachimura is not a dirty work guy, right? He's a guy that, can go get you buckets. You're hoping and praying that he doesn't get beat on defense every possession, right? Jake LaRavia is in that. I think he'll be better defensively than Rui, but, kind of in that same mold. A guy that's just out there giving you a bucket, right? Can knock down some threes. When he's hot and feeling it, he can create for himself, create a little bit for others. A guy that has the upside and potential that, like, I think consensus-wise, like, people will be like, oh, Jake LaRavia, man, that was a great pickup for the Lakers. Like, man, like, that was worth losing Dorian Finney-Smith in like a year or two, right? Maybe because of his stat line. But that doesn't mean that he has the bigger impact on the Lakers, right? Like, again, right now, at this point, Dorian Finney-Smith, like, if I could choose between Dorian Finney-Smith and Jake LaRavia, I would take Dorian Finney-Smith because I just think he's much more of what this team needs. However, losing him, it sucks because I know somebody's going to be like, oh, well, so Lakers are screwed. No, it's not like that. Because the Lakers losing Dorian Finney-Smith opened up Lakers getting multiple players, right? So now you get Jake LaRavia, and then if you get an Ayton, I would take Ayton over Dorian Finney-Smith because he's just a bigger need. He'll have a bigger impact than Dorian Finney-Smith has just because we don't have a center, right? So again, it's not just like the linear, like who would I trust to get me a bucket more? It'd probably be Jake LaRavia. Who would I take to impact winning more? It'd be Dorian Finney-Smith. I hope that I explained that in a digestible manner. But appreciate you. Thank you. All right, back to the regular chat here. Rob really hurt his leverage. Now teams will milk him because they know he needs a center. I mean, he still has Ayton out there. If he's like I said, if he signs Ayton, they're fine, right? Like, all the leverage swings back in Lakers' part. It's why I even made a video talking about it with Clint Capella, because at the time we didn't know Ayton was going to be available, right? But like, the problem is, like, teams want to take advantage because they know, like, you don't have a center, right? So you have to get a center. But as soon as DeAndre Ayton became available, right, that might have shifted things. That might have changed things. It changes the narrative. And I think everyone knows he's going to Lakers. I already talked about this, right? Like, I think the Lakers know. I think everyone knows. I think guys like Clint Capella and all this stuff know. It's common sense. Sign Ayton and grab some wins and a backup center. Yes. You don't want Dame, you're crazy. I don't want Dame this year. Like, if Damian Lillard is willing to come off the bench and accept like a Lou Williams role, I wouldn't mind signing him next year. This year, it doesn't make any sense, right? He's just going to take up a roster spot. He's not going to play this year. He's coming off an Achilles tear that he just had like a month ago, right? So he's going to miss all. Best case scenario, he comes back like during the playoffs, But I think what'll happen, because supposedly Damian Lillard's contemplating if he wants to sign a long-term deal with somebody, or he wants to kind of take the year off and then sign a long-term deal. If he, unless he goes to a place that he really wants to go to, then sure. But chances are he'll probably, my guess is he'll take this year off, rehab, get everything right, and then come back next year. And then, like, if you can get him on a vet minimum, I mean, still a guy that can, win you a game by himself, right? I mean, he's not what he used to be, but he's still really good. Get Whitmore, man. I am right there with you. I want Whitmore so bad. I think he has all the potential in the world still. We basically just added a center at the end of the day. I'm hoping. Like I said, I think he's coming. However, nothing's guaranteed until it's actually, on the dotted line. Once we get that report that, like, hey, he's coming, then I'll, be more confident. But I agree. I think if you can get him, I'd get him. I even said I'd swap him for Dalton Connect. And I know some people might think, like, absolutely not. Cam Whitmore's a better defender. He's like almost 5 years younger, and he's probably just as good of an offensive player. He's not the shooter that Connect is, but as far as like shot creation, getting in the basket, being able to shoot over the top and everything, like, I had a couple people when I made that video about Cam Whitmore that were like, "You crazy? Like, Dalton Connect, is better than Whitmore." And I was like, "Name me one thing other than shooting. Name me one thing that Cam Whitmore doesn't do better." Right? And not one person responded, because he does it. Like, he literally does everything else better except for shooting the basketball. And he's younger. So I would take, like, if I could swap Whitmore for Connect, I would do that immediately. If we were waiting on Walker Kessler trade, I'm out until Pelinka's gone. Lakers Nation deserves better. I mean, it depends on if you get Walker Kessler, right? Like, if they're waiting on Walker Kessler and they don't get him and they missed out on a bunch of centers and did all this other stuff, right? If it's like a Kawhi Leonard situation, then yes, that's stupid. However, if they actually land Walker Kessler, then it was worth it, in my opinion. I still fully stand by, if you can get Walker Kessler, you go get Walker Kessler. Talk about literally the best defensive center in the league, right? I know Wemby is great, but Walker Kessler is better in like several areas. What are your thoughts on Missy? I like him and think he could be a good big off the bench and develop, and I hope we sign Ayton. We have Milton sign and others. Just waiting on Ayton. Yeah, so I personally really like the idea of Missy. I think he's a guy that, again, is the exact type of mold for the type of center that the Lakers need long term, right? I would still go get Ayton, if I'm being honest, right? Like, let him, and then, like you said yourself, Missy coming off the bench, just for a couple of years, and then you kind of figure it out from there. But yeah, I mean, if you can go get Missy, I'd get him. I mean, talking about the two-way floor running, elevating big. Missy's like what, 21 years old still, something like that. So he's as young as the the player we drafted this year. So yes, I'm right there with you. That's fine. Backup duo. Yeah. Oh, not against that either. Los Angeles Dodgers win against Chicago. Nice. Let's see. It's the off season. That's all there is patience. I mean, we literally don't start the season for 4 months. If you were ever going to have patience, now is the time to have the patience. What's up, Tyler? Our center rotation should be Ayton, Horford, and Isaiah Jackson if no trade for a big materializes, and we should keep Jamison and Koloko on a two-way. Like I said, I'm fine with Ayton and Horford. Isaiah Jackson, I wouldn't hate that. I just, at what point do you bring in Jamison and Koloko is the thing, right? So you're going to sign Isaiah Jackson, you might as well get rid of Koloko and Jamison, right? Or get rid of one of them and keep the other one. Right? At some point, you got to throw these guys out there. Right? At some point, you got to bring them to the roster, especially Koloko, who's on those restricted. So I don't know. Like I would rather probably just bring in Koloko as your third big and just kind of go that route. Because like I said, you got to pick, or Jamison, right? Like, you can make an argument Jamison probably makes more sense just because he's that big burly, physical, imposing type of center. I'd probably rather go that route and just like give it a year and see where it goes. Like you can always figure it out later on down the road and get that other third center. It's not hard to get a third backup. We really got to lock in. OKC, Houston, and Denver are huge threats. I'll probably have to go through at least 2 of them. Yeah. Like I said, as long as Rob gets it right, it's fine. Problem is that if we go through this whole mess and then Rob doesn't get it right, then it's a problem. Right? Patience is great if the patience pays off. Right? Patience is not great if the patience doesn't pay off. So as long as it pays off, we're in good shape. Let's see. No more patience, man. You've been doing this since 2021. Always a fail. I didn't have this channel in 2021, but I just hit my 3rd year on doing this, so it was like the year after that. It's close. But yeah, I mean, patience just got us Luka, right? Patience got us an NBA championship originally, in 2020. Like patience is good as long as it's correct, right? So, okay, what's your solution other than patience? Would you rather Lakers just go trade and sign somebody? Okay, what happens if the Lakers had already traded for Nick Claxton, gave up all their assets to go get him, and then DeAndre Ayton became available? Would you have been like, hey, good move, great job, forget Ayton? Or would you have been like, look, we could have gotten Ayton for free. Why are you using your assets? That's why patience is important, right? You don't know what's going to come tomorrow. Like, as long as it pays off, right? Like, patience is key. Lakers are patient. What happens if the Lakers made a bunch of moves and you weren't able to get Luka? Lakers probably are a play-in team without Luka last year, and probably don't even get out of the play-in because Anthony Davis is probably not healthy or he's rushing back. Right? Like, again, things work itself out. Patience is key, right? Patience ended up leading to the potential of a free center that is better than any center that we could trade for right now, that's available right now, right? Like, patience is important. Now the Lakers, if they get Ayton, now they can go take those assets and go get other positions of need, right? Like, Nick Claxton by himself now the Lakers are a contender, but if that's all the Lakers have left after they make that trade, well, then now what? Right? Patience is important. Patience is always important. When you make a decision in your life, do you make it out of rash emotion or do you prefer to have patience in it? Right? Yes, there's certain things in life that you might want to just react to, right? But there's also certain things that more often than not, patience yields the best result, right? And look, patience sometimes doesn't always pay out, right? Sometimes, hey, you should have grabbed the thing that was there right when it was. But sometimes it does pan out, right? Like, again, you don't know. That's the point of having good patience, right? Sometimes it's going to work out, sometimes it's not. But patience is always the best answer, right? Would you rather them do a Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov 2.0 or be patient and wait for the right thing? Would you rather them make a trade that sets us back for a couple years, but they did something? Or would you rather them be patient and wait for the right thing, right? Would you rather them make no trade at all or make a bad trade? Right? Kobe, coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think saying you are keeping cap space for 2027 is a fireable offense. The new CBA rules makes it very rare high-end talent hits free agency. It's not 2017. Yes. But here's the thing. So a lot of people are running away with like the title headline that Lakers want to preserve cap. That doesn't mean that they're not trying to do things right now. Right? It's the moves that they want to make and the contracts that they give out, they want to line up. So like Jake LaRavia, his contract will line, he'll have this year and next year, right? And then that's it. Opens up, right? DeAndre Ayton, if they sign Ayton will have this year and next year and ends up. Lakers go trade for a guy like an Andrew Wiggins. He has this year and next year. I also don't buy the 2027 cap space because you have Austin Reeves. Right? Like, and I made a whole video about this on AIS The Lakers Show, but either one of two things are happening. Either A, the Lakers are about to trade Austin Reeves, or B, they're going to keep him and then tap into that cap space. Because Austin Reeves isn't going to make $14 million a year anymore, right? Like, he's going to make 30 plus million all the way up to maybe 50 million, right? So again, like, how do you preserve cap space when the guy that the Lakers have said is one of their cornerstones is about to get paid insane. You can't have both. Right. So unless they're getting ready to trade Austin Reeves this year, I don't necessarily think that that's accurate. And two, it's not that they're like, they want to punt until 2026. They still want to make the moves. They still want to try to go win championships. But LeBron is probably retiring in 2027, and they don't want to have to wait 2 or 3 years, because you got to keep in mind, Luka, his extension is probably going to be done the year after LeBron. So the Lakers' concern is, okay, we're going to go all in on a bunch of long-term guys, and then LeBron's going to retire, and then it's going to be Luka and a bunch of role players that we can't get out of for 2 years or at least a year, and then Luka becomes a free agent. Is Luka going to be patient enough to wait for us to be able to retool this and get another star, right? Like, those are all things to kind of keep in mind with that. But I appreciate you. Thank you. Ayton might go to the Pacers, and who are we trading for? So supposedly they're in talks on a potential trade. We don't know who that player is. There were reports that the Lakers reached out about Robert Williams, Missy, and who was the other? Nick Richards. But obviously nothing's gotten done in that regard yet. But according to, I believe it was Dave McMillan off the top of my head, he stated that the Lakers are like in the middle of negotiation. And that also could be what's holding up DeAndre Ayton, right? Is that because if they're about to go trade for a starting, like if they're going to go get Walker or Kessler, right, that might change kind of the way that they go about it, right? Like, or if they go get a Nick Claxton, that might change the way they go about things, right? So we'll see. But as long as the Lakers job is available, I don't think Ayton goes to the Pacers. It doesn't make sense, right? If they had Tyrese Halliburton, I would 100% be like, we might be in trouble. I think Lakers better sign him before Indiana does. But again, if he signs with Indiana, it's probably because the Lakers are about to do something, right? Or trading for somebody, and they decided to go with the guy that they're trading for rather than signing him for free, which I don't know who you'd get unless you're getting Walker Kessler. I'd probably rather just kind of keep Ayton, and just kind of go that route. And then, like I said, use your assets to go get perimeter depth. Although if you could get a Missy or something like that, it'd be kind of hard to turn that down. And you can always make him your backup. But I don't think Ayton goes to the Pacers unless the Lakers don't want him, right? Because his agent made it very clear. He wants to go to a winning situation, and Lakers would give him the best winning situation right now. Because even if you think Lakers are trash and blah, 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 and you're trolling about it, right? Like, the Lakers are better than Indiana. They're going to miss their best player and the one guy that could set Ayton up and make him look good. Right? Nembhard isn't doing that. Right? I could go have Nembhard be my point guard, or I could have Luka and LeBron James making me look fantastic every day. Right? Cosman coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I feel it's either Missy or Ayton, but not both. I think it could be. I mean, it makes sense. So the reason I think Missy is a real possibility is because the Joe Dumars said that they believe Queen, like they went and got Queen because they believe he is their franchise. Right? They believe he is their franchise center. So as soon as he said that, it was kind of like, okay, so Missy's probably getting traded. So, and supposedly Lakers are in the mix with that, and potentially a third team that wants another player on that team. So it's got to be a team that has players that other teams will want, that kind of wants to go the more like a different direction, right? And so I could see Pelicans being a team. Like, with the Pelicans, like, who's the other pick? Like, so who on the Pelicans would other teams want, right? DeJounte Murray, right? Would like a team like Minnesota want DeJounte Murray? Just kind of a thought. Maybe it's like a 3-team deal, but it's kind of my thoughts. I don't necessarily think it's both. Although you could argue if they trade for Missy, you still got to get a backup or a starter, and to go get Ayton for a year, like, you might have a real foundation there at the center position, right? And then, you have Ayton for a year or two, and then Missy takes over the starting job, right? Sign Ayton for 2 years and then give Missy the new contract, and then boom, there you go. But, all right, let's get back into the regular chat. Do a couple more questions. I'm going to go about 5 more minutes, and I'm going to skate on out of here. Still got a lot of work to do, and it's super late. But Luka fell on his lap, didn't get him. I already covered this. He absolutely did. Again, if you are a salesman, Amaris, right? You're a salesman. Your job is to sell and close the deal, right? And a customer walks in. Does that mean that you didn't get that sale? Does that mean you didn't do your job, right? Because the customer came to you? No, you closed, right? Like, yes, Luka fell into his lap, but it was still Rob Pelinka's job to get it done. Because just like that customer can come in and leave, Nico Harris could have came to Rob and just went somewhere else, right? And not just that, they probably would have gotten more than that, right? Like they probably would have gotten more than what they actually got for it. So yes, Rob Pelinka absolutely did get him. That's his job. Like he came in just like a salesman, car dealer comes in, customer. It's my job to close him on that sale of that car. If I don't, I lost him, right? It's not like it's guaranteed because he came in that I can go get him, right? How realistic is Whitmore, man? I don't know. I think Lakers' best chance to get Whitmore was with the Dorian Finney-Smith trade, right? The sign and trade with Dorian Finney-Smith, but they decided to go with the Clint Capella route instead. So, and they actually had to give up assets, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. Probably, I'd say probably, if I'm being honest, probably like 30-70. It'll happen. Like 30% it will, 70% it won't. It's just unless they want Connect or something, and the Lakers are going to do that. But then you lose one of your best trading assets or tradable assets. So I think it's unlikely, unless maybe you're doing a 3-team deal and like you're getting Whitmore and something else, and then something's going to Houston. Rob Pelinka closed the deal. There's a difference, right? Rob Pelinka closed the deal, right? If you've ever sold something in your life, you have to close, right? Somebody comes and presents you an opportunity. It's your job to make sure that you close that opportunity, right? Let's see. Tyler, do you use different cameras for live streams? Yes. So I have like my setup for the videos, and then I have like my little Logitech webcam thing. Because it's just better suited for like the movement and stuff. And I'm sitting here for like an hour instead of like recording a video. So it's like sometimes you get a little stiff, you got to move around. So it's better for the actual live streams themselves. Let's see. Luka's not gonna have us all yet next year. Not worried about Luka. And LeBron, again, they've been talking about LeBron leaving for about 4 years now, and he hasn't done it. I think if he was gonna leave, he had several times. I argue the Lakers were playing amazing basketball before the Luka trade. Yes, they absolutely were playing great basketball. I mean, again, they were on pace to win 50 plus games. But you got to keep in mind, again, if they don't do the Luka trade, they're probably a play-in team because Anthony Davis is hurt. There's going to be a point next season. Let's say they don't make the Luka trade. There is a point next season where they don't have LeBron or Anthony Davis for like at least a couple weeks, if not longer, right? And there would even, depending on where it lines up with Anthony Davis, right? Because obviously Lakers probably wouldn't have rushed him back like Dallas did, but there also potentially is a point where you don't have Luka, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Austin Reeves for like 3 games, right? So Lakers probably don't even make the playoffs if they didn't make the Luka trade. Like, and that, I mean, honestly, because remember, Anthony Davis was hurt before the Luka trade. He was hurt in the trade, right? So, and then he rushed back because he wanted to kind of prove himself to Dallas and ended up getting hurt, right? Let's see. That's not true. If he was taking the first deal, he never would have Westbrook. No, so the Westbrook trade. So he was taking the first deal. He was getting ready to do it, right? Dude. The Sacramento trade for Buddy Hield was done, and then Jeannie Buss came to him because LeBron and Anthony Davis wanted Russell Westbrook. Again, I talked about this a million times, right? Like you can even Google it. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook went to Anthony Davis's house and decided that they wanted to play together. And Anthony Davis even said that he would play the center position in order to make it work, that they would do whatever it took to make it work. And Sacramento was furious because they were trading Buddy Hield, who was it, for Kyle Kuzma? I think it was. That deal was getting done. It was signed, sealed, ready to be delivered. Right. So, yes, Rob was going to take the first deal. Right. It's just Jeannie vetoed it. Right. So, again, and that was the first deal. And then he was trying to get DeMar DeRozan. So, yeah, he, again, was going to take the first deal. It's just Jeannie got in the way and did the Westbrook trade. Let's look at the contenders, Tyler. Houston and Denver. Were they patient? So, a couple things. One, you got, again, context matters. Context is important, right? Houston is a terrible example to compare to the Lakers because Houston has the cap space, the assets, and the players that teams would want to make a trade. Remove Houston out of the conversation. Denver, again, they just traded their third best player to go get a downgrade in Cam Johnson, who I think would be a better fit, in order to free up cap space to do that. Right. So that's essentially the equivalent of the Lakers trading Austin Reeves to go get that. Austin Reeves doesn't make $40 million. Again, you're comparing apples to Ferraris right now. Like, it's not the same thing, right? It's not. Denver was patient the last few years, right? Because they didn't have those things open up at that time, right? And then all of a sudden those things now become available, so they're able to do it. So yes, Denver was patient, right? Houston, it didn't have to be patient. And they were patient last year. They could have made moves last year, and they weren't. They were patient because they wanted to see what the young core could do, right? And then they were put in a position where they could be aggressive. Lakers are not in a position where they can mess this up, right? Like, some people act like the Lakers have like 10 firsts. We're not OKC. We're not Houston. Lakers have very finite assets. They cannot mess this up. And, you keep talking about like, oh, we can't be patient. Again, like, all it takes is one bad move and that's it, right? Now you're patient for another 10 years. Enjoy, right? Because you make a poor decision. Lakers aren't Houston. Lakers aren't OKC. Lakers aren't San Antonio. Lakers aren't these teams, right? Again, like, context matters. Context is important. Let's see. CS coming out, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So let's talk about, I think I'm going to end the stream here. Obviously, if another super chat comes in, then it'll come. But I wanted to end this about an hour because I still got a ton of work to do, and it's already 1 a.m. where I'm at. So I'm going to probably wrap it up here. Like I said, another super chat, then I'll answer it. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. But so let's talk Cam Whitmore. I understand you are high on him, but Rocket fans are down on him, right? He hunts highlights and doesn't always give good effort on defense. Tunnel vision. He's 21 years old, or 20 years old, right? Oh, did he just turned 21? Something like that. He's a kid. Right? He's a kid that is out there to be a bucket getter that has no real role, has inconsistent minutes, and no real opportunity. Of course, he is. Look at it like this. If I know, right, I have like 5 minutes randomly on any given night to prove what I can do, guess what I'm doing? Right? Like, I'm not going to play into your system when I don't get the opportunity to. Right? When I'm only playing in garbage time or random games here and there where you feel like playing me, of course he's going to have more tunnel vision. Of course he's going to, be more offensive oriented and hunt his shot and look for things because he wants to prove himself, to prove that I can do it. And he's a 21-year-old kid. If he goes to a team like the Lakers where he gets a real consistent role and he has a job and it's like, hey, man, we need you to do X, Y, and Z, and you work with him and you're patient with him, he has the potential to be that. And it's like, hey, man, you're going to have your games. You're going to have your moments. You're going to have your opportunity where we want you to be aggressive, right? We want you to go find your shot. We want you to beat guys off the dribble and create rim pressure, get to the basket, and do all these things. That's fine. Do all that. But we also need you to play within a system, right? It's a very different situation. let's remove the Lakers from it, right? So that way there doesn't seem like bias. If he goes to any team that actually gives him a real role, real opportunity, and real minutes, consistency, then it's easier to convince somebody to play a role, right? It's hard to go, hey man, I know we're only playing you 5 minutes randomly here and there. We want you to just not take shots and defend at a high level and, only catch and shoot three. It's like, dude, this might be my only opportunity for a month. Right. Like, and we're in garbage time. So even if I take 10 shots, that doesn't mean that like now we're going to lose the game. Right. Like, so again, it's just, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I'm not worried about him trying to go and make a highlight reel. Cause again, what else is he playing for? Right. Like, go do it. Not go give me that's what makes him attractive. Cause you see the potential, you see what could be there. You just got to be able to kind of guide the young man and get him kind of focused. So I'm incredibly high on Cam Whitmore. I like Cam Whitmore a lot. It's just, again, it's just, can you actually acquire him and get him? The defensive effort, right? Motor, things like that. Like that's stuff that it's hard. It's something that I've talked about like with, defensive players and stuff, right? Like Mark Williams, when the Lakers were blowing off the trade for Mark Williams, right? People were like, oh, but he's not a good defender. PJ Washington wasn't, and then he went to the right place where it mattered, right? It's hard to go and want to be the best defensive player on the basketball court when, you're losing by 30 every night, right? Like it's hard, right? Like, and then, it's like, okay, well, what am I working my tail off for and doing that? But then you saw a guy like PJ Washington, same thing. Like no one thought PJ Washington was a defensive player. Like no one was talking about PJ Washington being a defensive stopper. And then he went to Dallas and was literally their defensive anchor, right? Because he went to the right situation where he knew his role. The minutes and games and stuff that he played actually mattered. It meant something, right? No, now you're playing a real role to winning, right? Like that's very different than it's like, oh, hey, now you're just out there, so go hoop, right? Like Cam Whitmore going to a winning situation, a winning environment, getting a role, getting an opportunity. I don't think you'll have a problem, right? Yeah, it might take a little adjustment, but it's worth the risk. I mean, the guy has all the upside in the world. But anyway, I appreciate you, CS, and everyone that gave me super chat. Seriously, you guys are all awesome. Helps me out a ton. Sorry I didn't get through more questions in just the regular chat. Try to get through as many as I can, power through them. But look, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, right? We want the Lakers to be great. That's all we're asking for. We want the Lakers to be great. And hopefully we get some news tomorrow. But anyway, I'm going to get on out here. Like I said, I got a couple videos to get done and things like that. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But anyway, as always, hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. You people are beautiful, and I will see you all probably tomorrow. Peace.